Live from New Delhi, you're watching the India NewsHour, India's voice to the world. I'm Abhishek Mahajan, coming up in the next hour. Israel-Hamas set for crucial Gaza peace talks in Egypt. US President Trump urges both sides to move fast, optimistic about first phase completing this week. Differences persist in the legislative corridors as shutdown continues in the US. White House warns of imminent layoffs even as Democrats stick to their demands of healthcare subsidies. France unveils new government amid political deadlock. Prime Minister Sébastien Lecornu assembles cabinet amid intense protest over his proposed public spending cuts. 49 killed and hundreds evacuated after Nepal hit by heavy rain and flood. Alert issued for Indian state of Bihar. Also rescue and relief operation underway in landslide hit Darjeeling. And in Women's World Cup, India women overpower Pakistan by 88 runs. Kranti Gore heroics help women in blue register back-to-back victories. Israel and Hamas will hold indirect negotiations in Egypt on Monday amid hopes for a possible agreement on ending the Gaza conflict based on Donald Trump's ceasefire plan. Trump has promoted a 20-point plan aimed at ending the fighting in Gaza, securing the release of remaining hostages and defining the territory's future. Israel and Hamas have agreed to parts of the plan. Hamas on Friday accepted the hostage release and several other elements, but sidestepped contentious points including calls for its disarmament, which it has long rejected. Trump welcomed Hamas's response, saying he believed Hamas had shown it was ready for a lasting peace. He told Israel to stop bombing Gaza immediately, but its attacks on the enclave have continued. And speaking to reporters ahead of the talks, President Trump sounded an optimistic note, saying he and a lot of countries surrounding Israel had some very good meetings with Hamas.
Yeah, we did it very quickly. We had some very good meetings. The countries of the world, a lot of the countries surrounding Israel, frankly, Muslim, Arab, and many others have had great meetings with Hamas, and it looks like it's working. So we'll wait for a little while, see how it all turns out.
Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said that the responsibility lies with Hamas to fully accept the peace plan.
Well, we accepted the deal, as did all the world. It was President Trump's plan. Hamas says that it accepted the deal. Now the onus is on Hamas. This plan consists of two parts. The first part is releasing all the hostages. Israel makes a tactical withdrawal, stays in Gaza. And then the second part is meant to demilitarize Gaza and disarm Hamas. That will be negotiated. Of course, I can't tell you if Hamas will agree to it. I think that it's possible. I hope it'll happen, but I can't guarantee that it'll happen. And so if it doesn't happen, what President Trump has said is that he will back Israel completely in acting forcefully against Hamas. Well, let's hope that that we can finish it the easy way and not the hard way.
All right, DD India's Akshay Dongre has more information on this. Is joining us. Akshay, what's on the table in the initial phase of these negotiations? Are we looking at a full ceasefire framework or too early for that to happen?
Well, if the ceasefire happens, Abhishek, it is going to happen in toto, because at least the firing will stop. And it's happening from one side at this point in time. It's just Israel that's taking action against Hamas, and it's carrying out its operations in Gaza, because you don't hear Hamas rockets being fired into Tel Aviv or Jerusalem. At least in the last month, we haven't heard any of these actions being taken by Hamas. So the onus of stopping attacks lies actually on Israel, because
Yeah.
it's Israeli attacks that are carrying out, night and night, night after night, killing several people inside Gaza, many of them innocent. And that is also attracting ire of ire of several countries in the world, including many allies in Europe. That is the pressure that Israel has also. But when it comes to Hamas, yes, they have to, give back all the hostages. They have to return hostages, be it dead or alive. The situation remains complicated, honestly, Abhishek, because we do not know as of now what is going to happen, because the kind of conflict it has been going on for centuries now, as far as this issue, this question of the Palestinian land is concerned, of Israeli land is concerned, and who exactly inherits this land, who owns this land, and it seems that this is a far too complicated issue to be resolved in such a rushed manner. But if the ceasefire happens and if the hostages get returned, we can expect some kind of positive
Yeah.
outlook, positive outcome from this.
But again, Akshay, Trump's 20-point plan is being seen as the basis for these discussions. Can you tell us, what are the key issues? What are the key elements both sides have agreed to?
Well, also to highlight where the problem may lie as far as 20-point plan is concerned, we have to get into what are the things that they will not agree to, because there are 20 points.
Yeah.
Most of them are being agreed by both of them. That includes return of the hostages, return of the bodies of the hostages by Hamas. Israel has agreed to do a tactical withdrawal, but it will remain in Gaza for time being. Both have agreed for implementation of a force that will international force that will remain there. Reconstruction of Gaza is part of the plan. But when it comes to Hamas, a couple of things are there that have raised question mark, and the group hasn't agreed to. That includes disarmament, that has been one of the prime demands of Israel, but hasn't been agreed to by Hamas. But they have agreed to return the hostages, to talk, and to come to negotiation table and talk about peace and implement a ceasefire, at least in the foreseeable future. So we can expect a temporary solution, but not permanent as of now.
All right, keep track on that, Akshay. Thank you for the time being, but yes, we'll keep taking updates from you. Meanwhile, a day before the conflict's second anniversary, Israelis gathered at the hostages square in Tel Aviv on Sunday, praying for the return of the hostages. Many in the crowd sat in silence, while others wept or joined chants led from a makeshift stage. On October 7, 2023, Hamas attack on Israel triggered the conflict in Gaza. Hamas killed 1,200 people, mostly civilians, and about 251 were taken as hostage. Now, Trump administration officials issued a warning on Sunday that Americans will increasingly feel the pain of an ongoing U.S. government shutdown. Most federal operations remain shuttered as no tangible signs of negotiations have emerged between U.S. congressional leaders since President Trump met them last week. Democrats are refusing to give in over the demands for continued government health care subsidies in the budget. White House has warned that plans are being finalized for the firing of thousands of federal workers. Shutdowns are a periodic feature of gridlocked Washington when the two parties cannot agree on budget priorities. But this time the stakes are higher. US President Trump has hinted that government has already started to permanently fire, not merely furlough government employees. Trump responded to a question on federal workers' cutoff, saying that the things are taking place right now.
It's taking place right now, and it's all because of the Democrats. The Democrats are causing the loss of a lot of jobs with their, it's a shutdown. It's their shutdown, not our shutdown, it's their shutdown.
And the shutdown began on October 1st, the start of federal fiscal 2026, after Senate Democrats rejected a short-term funding measure that would keep federal agencies open through November 21st. While Democrats are demanding a permanent extension of enhanced premium tax credits to help Americans purchase private health insurance through the Affordable Care Act, and assurances that the White House will not try to unilaterally cancel spending agreed to in any deal. On Monday, the Senate is due to vote for a fifth time on the stopgap funding bill that has already passed the Republican-controlled House of Representatives and on a Democratic alternative. Neither measure is expected to receive the 60 votes needed to advance, with a 53-47 seat majority and one Republican opposed to the House funding bill. Republican leaders need at least 8 Democrats to support the measure, but have seen only 3 cross the aisle so far. Now, US President Donald Trump attended the Titans of the Sea, a salute to the fleet, commemorating the US Navy's 250th birthday on Sunday. He was joined by First Lady Melania Trump aboard the USS George H.W. Bush. The Trumps watched a military demonstration while standing on the deck of the aircraft carrier. Navy destroyers launched missiles and fired shells into the Atlantic Ocean. Navy SEALs descended from helicopters and fighter jets catapulted off. And behind a bulletproof glass, Trump said the story of the US Navy is a tale of loyalty, sacrifice and commitment stretching back to 50 years.
From the American Revolution until today, the story of the U.S. Navy is a tale of loyalty, sacrifice, and commitment stretching back 250 years. So we're celebrating 250. Problem with Vietnam, we stopped fighting to win. We would have won easy. We would have won Afghanistan easy. We would have won every war easy. But we got politically correct. Let's take it easy. We're not politically correct anymore, just so you understand. We win. Now we win. We don't want to be politically correct anymore.
In the United States, Trump administration has branded Chicago a war zone on Sunday as a justification for deploying soldiers against the will of local Democratic officials. An escalating political crisis across the country pits President Donald Trump's anti-crime and migration crackdown against opposition Democrats who accuse him of an authoritarian power grab. On Saturday, Trump authorized deployment of 300 National Guard soldiers to Chicago, the third largest city in the United States, while a federal judge temporarily blocked Trump from deploying 200 Oregon National Guard troops to the city of Portland, while a lawsuit challenging the move plays out. The Trump crackdown is being spearheaded by Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Trump has already sent the National Guard to police Los Angeles and Washington, D.C., and has said he would send troops to several other cities. On Sunday, Trump said that he will be pushing forward with plans to deploy troops to Portland and Chicago as he vows to crack down on crime and illegal migration.
We're going to look at that. It was amazing. Portland is burning to the ground. It's insurrectionists all over the place. It's Antifa. And yet the politicians who are petrified. Look, the politicians are afraid for their lives. That's the only reason that they say, like, there's nothing happening. And you've seen it. The place is burning down and they pretend like there's nothing happening. So we'll take a look at the order. We haven't seen the order yet.
Time now for a very short break, but still to come on this edition of DD India NewsHour. Syria concludes electoral college voting for transitional parliament as vote counting begins. Bangladesh's dengue crisis deepens, hospitals overwhelmed amid rising infections. And Hughes celebrates Mid-Autumn Festival with royal splendor at Imperial Citadel. Back, you're watching Lead India NewsHour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Some more stories. US forces hit another vessel allegedly carrying illegal drugs off the coast of Venezuela on Saturday evening. His comments come 2 days after the US military killed 4 people in a strike in the Caribbean on a vessel allegedly carrying illegal drugs just off the coast of Venezuela. It was at least the 4th such attack in recent weeks. The administration has not provided evidence for claims that the targeted boats were carrying drugs. Trump told Congress last week that he had determined the US to be in a non-international armed conflict with drug cartels. Trump said that the US military buildup in the Caribbean had halted drug trafficking from South America. Moving on, in response to US strikes in Venezuela, Russia has expressed its full support to Caracas. Venezuelan Foreign Minister Juan Gil said that his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov gave a full expression of support and solidarity in a phone call between the two. Russia also said it was committed to preserving Latin America and the Caribbean as a zone of peace. Now, members of Syria's electoral colleges finished voting for new lawmakers on Sunday. Vote counting has begun with some preliminary results expected Sunday night and the official winners to be announced on Monday. Local committees in Syria cast their ballots for members of a transitional parliament, with a third of the new lawmakers to be appointed directly by interim leader Ahmed al-Shara. Over 1,500 candidates, including only 14% women, are running for the assembly with a 30-month renewable term. Shara will appoint 70 of the 210 members. A local committee is chosen by the Electoral Commission will select the remaining 2/3. However, the Druze majority Sweda province and the Kurdish-held northeast are currently excluded due to lack of government control, leaving their 32 seats vacant. Around 6,000 people took part in Sunday's selection process. Now, French President Emmanuel Macron's office on Sunday unveiled a new cabinet to be led by Prime Minister Sébastien Lecornu, whose most pressing and most perilous task will be to win support for a 2026 budget in a fragmented and fractious parliament. Roland Lescure, a close ally of President Emmanuel Macron, has been named finance minister, while former finance chief Bruno Le Maire takes over the defense portfolio. Key figures such as Jean-Noël Barrot at Foreign Affairs, Bruno Retailleau at the Interior Ministry and Gérald Darmanin at Justice have retained their roles. PM Lecornu has sought to win over the socialists by proposing a wealth tax, though he exempted business owners' assets to safeguard jobs and businesses. He also dismissed the use of special constitutional measures to push the budget through without a parliamentary vote. Budget negotiations have become increasingly tense, requiring careful compromises among 3 ideologically divided blocs in a fragmented parliament. Shifting focus, young Moroccans took to the streets in cities across the kingdom for the 9th straight day of protests calling for an end to corruption and a change of government. Organized online by Gen Z, whose founders have remained anonymous, the rallies have swept the usually stable North African country since September 27. In Casablanca, the crowd massed in the working-class Al Fida district, demanding the resignation of Prime Minister Aziz Akhanouch. The protesters have demanded reforms to social services, especially health and education, and voiced anger over social inequality. Gen Z 212, which has more than 180,000 members on Discord, insists on non-violent nature of its protest, and the gatherings since then have been largely peaceful. In Hungary, thousands of protesters gathered at Kossuth Square in front of the parliament on Sunday, voicing opposition to Prime Minister Viktor Orban amid economic stagnation and high inflation ahead of 2026 parliamentary elections. Orban faces his toughest election next year as the country's economic challenges persist and inflation hampers potential interest rate cuts by the central bank. The crowd criticized Orban's close ties to Moscow while likening him to failed communist leaders. In Bangladesh, the dengue situation is deteriorating further, with 9 more deaths reported in the 24 hours till Sunday morning. the second highest daily toll this year. According to Directorate General of Health Services, the latest fatalities have pushed the nationwide death toll to 212 in 2025. In the same period, 1,042 new dengue cases were confirmed, raising the total number of infections this year to 49,907. Hospitals in Dhaka and other major cities are struggling to cope with influx of patients as thousands remain admitted with dengue fever. Health experts say the figures highlight not only the widespread prevalence of dengue, but also the urgent need for sustained preventive measures, especially in urban areas where the Aedes mosquito thrives. Let's now take a look at other stories making news around the world. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum marked her first year in office with massive colorful rally at Mexico City's Zocalo. Addressing thousands, she firmly declared and defends that Mexico will not accept any from foreign intervention. The event celebrated her historic milestone as the country's first women leader. Indonesia celebrated the 80th anniversary of its armed forces with a grand parade at Jakarta's National Monument. President Prabowo Subianto, senior military officials and thousands of personnel from Army, Navy and Air Force attended the event. The ceremony showcased the strength and unity of Indonesia's military. Now, Vietnam's ancient city of Hue is celebrating the Mid-Autumn Festival with royal grandeur at the Imperial Citadel, offering visitors a glimpse of traditional festivities. The event features lantern parades, line dances, folk games and music and dance performances on October 6 and 7. Across Vietnam, cities are glowing with lanterns, mooncake markets and family festivities marking the season. All right, weather-related updates now. First up from Nepal, where heavy rains triggered landslides and flash floods blocking roads, washing away bridges and killing at least 49 people, including 38 deaths alone in Lam district of East Nepal. Armed police force officials fear the number of casualties may rise as rescue operations continue. Torrential downpours have lashed Nepal since Friday, leaving rivers in spate and many areas in Himalayan nation inundated. Government of Nepal has declared a public holiday on October 5 and 6. At least 5 people are missing, while many others are urged to take shelter in safe places. Security personnel were deployed to assist rescue efforts with helicopters and motorboats. Rivers in the capital, Kathmandu, have also swelled, inundating settlements along their banks. Prime Minister Sushila Karki said government agencies were fully prepared for rescue and relief. Weather officials said rains were likely to lash the Himalayan nation until Monday. All right, let's go across to Nepal now. DD India's Shweta Singh joins us on the phone line. Shweta, what is the situation on the ground right now? The Mechi Highway, a critical lifeline linking Ilam, Panchtar, Taplejung and Jhapa, remains completely blocked. Bridges also, we are hearing, that have been washed away. Tell us, since you are there, how bad is the flooding and landslide damage across Nepal right now?
Abhishek, you see, most important lifeline, all the highways are blocked. So people who are traveling towards Kathmandu, it's really difficult now. It's impossible right now because all the roads are blocked by landslides. It's flooded, broken. And you see the most damage, what has happened is in the popular hill station of eastern Nepal, that's Ilam. 38 people died there alone. So it's actually the reason for this many deaths are this time of Dasai. Because you see, Bhai Tika is such a festival when across globe all the Nepalis try to visit their hometown. So when they all are there together, and it was in the night, due to incessant rain, this flood and landslide had happened. 38 people died, all in sleeping when they were sleeping in their houses. So it's really terrible here, and alternate routes is being provided. It's being tried because one can only try, administration can only try now. Because you see, all the highways are broken, all the roads are damaged. So even cars cannot, or any vehicle cannot move now. So all travelers are halted in the place wherever they are. It's really difficult now. The situation is not easy.
Absolutely. Next 24 hours will be very difficult. Keep an eye on that. Shweta, thank you for the time being. But yes, we'll keep taking updates from you. Life in India's West Bengal's Darjeeling and Dwars has become tough after heavy rain on Saturday night. So far, 18 people have lost lives in rain-related incidents. Several locals and hundreds of tourists are trapped in these areas. Hill roads in Mirik were closed after a landslide. The NDRF is engaged in rescue operations. In southern West Bengal, several districts are waterlogged because of heavy rainfall in the neighbouring state of Jharkhand. The Damodar Valley Corporation was forced to release thousands of cusecs of water from its reservoirs. West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee claims it is a conspiracy and the party workers protested at a few places before the corporation's offices. And more from India, now from Bihar, where there is no respite from the ongoing flood in Kosi region, with the river and its tributaries swollen and flowing above the danger mark in many places. Road and rail traffic is affected due to waterlogging. A city road in Patna near Mithapur caved in yesterday. Around 16 people died due to thunderstorm across the state during past 48 hours. Around 33 panchayats in Supol districts have become flood affected, where population is being shifted to safer places. All right, we'll go across to Patna now. DD India Salman Haider joins us for more. Salman, heavy rainfall in North Bihar and neighbouring Nepal has triggered a fresh flood scare. Tell us, what's the latest update from the ground?
As you already reported, the heavy inflow has been reported from Nepal, due to which the flash flood situation has risen here. All the 56 gates of Kosi barrage are open now due to high water level in Kosi river following heavy rainfall in Nepal and North Bihar. The situation in North Bihar has become more grim. The average water flow from the Kosi barrage is around 500,000 cusecs. Most of the catchment areas of the river Kosi is in Nepal, and there was incessant rains there. That is why heavy inflow is there in Kosi in Indian region. So the flood situation, as already reported, has become very grim in Supol district, where 33 panchayats have got affected.
Also, Salman, what arrangements have been made for temporary shelters and food supply? And also tell us about the relief and the rescue operations. How well prepared are the disaster response team?
This was a flash flood, and Ganga is also become swollen. So the rescue and relief operation is in full swing here. NDRF, National Disaster Relief Force, has been activated, and SDRF is also engaged in rescue and relief work. Community kitchens in Supol districts have been activated, from where the people are getting cooked food. And also shelters have been provided, temporary shelters have been provided at higher places, in which the population is being shifted from the low-lying or flood-affected areas. So the rescue and relief operation is going on a full swing here, and there is no matter of worry as such. But the people have been warned to move at safer places from the low-lying areas, and most of the population has already shifted. Yes.
All right, Salman, we'll leave it at that. Thank you for getting us the latest from Patna, Bihar. Still to come on this edition of DD India NewsHour. Piyush Goyal to visit Qatar from October 6th to 7th to co-chair Qatar-India Joint Commission meeting. Indian Navy to commission second anti-submarine warfare shallow watercraft vessel and Roth, boosting indigenous maritime capabilities. And India's Health Ministry holds high-level meeting on cough syrup safety following child deaths.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India NewsHour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Some more stories. External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar weighed in on key global and economic challenges at the Kautilya Economic Conclave in New Delhi on Sunday. From trade relations with the US to shifting geopolitical dynamics and energy security, Minister Jaishankar outlined India's strategic priorities.
India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar on Sunday said India is working to resolve trade issues with the United States. Addressing the closing session of Kautilya Economic Conclave, Jaishankar also spoke on safeguarding India's economic interests.
At the end of the day, there has got to be a trade understanding with the United States. There has to be one because it is the world's largest market, but also because it is, much of the world has reached those understandings. But it has to be an understanding where our bottom lines, our red lines are respected. In any agreement, there are things you can negotiate and there are things you can't. And I think we are pretty clear about that. And we have to find that landing ground. And that's been the conversation really which has been going on since March.
The minister also spoke about the emerging reality of regional multipolarity, calling it a transition from an old world order to a complex, often contradictory phase.
How do we actually practice this multi-alignment or this multiple relationships with different agendas and with different partners, sometimes in different regions? This is really the external challenge. The internal one, of course, is to improve every dimension of our comprehensive national power. And in my view, we've laid a very solid foundation in the last decade. I think these 5 years, given the international environment, will test us like it would test every other country in the world.
On energy security, Jaishankar pointed to the evolving dynamics, especially the US becoming a major energy exporter. He raised concerns over price caps, sanctions, and subsidies, questioning the role of market forces in such a disrupted system.
Just as the US has emerged as a champion of fossil fuels, China has also established itself actually as a leader in renewables. So pretty much any path you take on renewables, finally all roads lead back there as well. Deriving from that, related to that, if one looks at the role of big tech, now there have always been big companies driving the global economy, but the position, the salience of big tech in today's world really represents a new level of prominence and influence of a few companies.
The fourth edition of the Kautilya Economic Conclave, held in New Delhi from October 3rd to 5th under the theme Seeking Prosperity in Turbulent Times, concluded with keynote speech by External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar. The conclave was inaugurated on Friday by Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. Bureau Report, DD India.
Now, India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh will undertake a 2-day official visit to Australia on 9th and 10th October. The visit comes at a historic moment when India and Australia commemorate 5 years of establishment of India-Australia Comprehensive Strategic Partnership. This will also mark the first ever visit of an Indian Defence Minister to Australia since 2014. During the visit, Rajnath Singh will hold talks with his Australian counterpart. He will chair a business roundtable in Sydney, which will be attended by industry leaders from both the sides. And Union Minister of Commerce and Industry Piyush Goyal's In fact, he is visiting Doha for the meeting of Qatar-India Joint Commission on Trade and Commerce from 6th to 7th October. This visit underscores the importance that India attaches to its trade and investment ties with Qatar, one of our important trading partners in the Gulf Cooperation Council, with bilateral trade estimated at over $14 billion in 2024-25. The two sides are expected to hold wide-ranging discussions reviewing bilateral trade performance, addressing existing trade barriers and non-tariff issues, and exploring avenues to enhance trade and investment flows. The talks are likely to include deliberations on the proposed India-Qatar FTA, with a way forward on finalization of the terms of reference for the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, which will further strengthen economic cooperation between both the countries. Now, the Indian Navy is set to commission Androth, the second anti-submarine warfare shallow watercraft, at a ceremony today at the Naval Dockyard in Visakhapatnam. The commissioning of Androth marks yet another milestone in Indian Navy's steady stride towards capability enhancement and indigenization. Built by Garden Reach shipbuilders and engineers at Kolkata, Androth is a testimony to India's growing maritime self-reliance with over 80% indigenous content. The commissioning of Androth will significantly bolster the Navy's ASW capabilities, especially in countering threats in littoral waters. Together, these inductions in recent months, Arnala, Nistar, Udaygiri, Nilgiri and now Androth, reflect the Navy's balanced growth across the spectrum of maritime operations, embodying the spirit of Atmanirbharta or self-reliance. Now, in view of recent concerns relating to the quality and administration of cough syrups, India's Health Ministry convened a high-level meeting with states' UTs on quality and rational use of cough syrups. The Union Health Secretary emphasized strict compliance with the revised schedule by all drug manufacturers, and thorough exercise of identification of non-compliant units must be undertaken and strict action be taken against them. The government exhorted states to ensure rational use of cough syrups, particularly among children, as most coughs are self-limiting and do not require pharmacological treatment. The meeting follows recent reports of child deaths in Chhindwara, Madhya Pradesh, allegedly linked to contaminated cough syrups. Let's now take a look at other stories making news today. Chhattisgarh Chief Minister Vishnu Deo Sai inaugurated the Mining Conclave 2025, announcing key MOUs with Coal India and ISM Dhanbad to boost critical minerals and clean energy. He launched Mineral Online 2.0, the DMF portal and a sand auction platform to promote transparency and efficiency. CM Sai highlighted record mining revenue, increased employment and the state's leadership in lithium block auctions. The conclave emphasized sustainable mining and technological innovation for future growth. The Indian Navy and the Royal Navy began the bilateral maritime exercise Konkan 25 off India's western coast. The 8-day drill will be held both at harbour and at sea to boost interoperability through advanced exercises across all domains of maritime operations. The Western Fleet units, led by India's indigenous aircraft carrier INS Vikrant, is taking part in the exercise. Now, Oil and Natural Gas Corporation Limited has received the Certificate for Excellence 2025 for its strong commitment to marine environmental protection. The award, presented by Director General of the Indian Coast Guard during the 27th Annual National Oil Spill Disaster Contingency Plan meeting in Chennai, held on 5th and 6th October, recognizes ONGC's efforts in pollution prevention and safeguarding marine ecosystems. Time now for another short break, but still to come on this edition of DD India NewsHour. DGCA orders airlines to deploy additional flights this festive season to curb airfare hike. Curtains down on World Para Athletics Championships as host India finishes with its best performance so far. And hundreds of hot air balloons light up the sky at 53rd Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy, always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India NewsHour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. In a bid to prevent airfares from soaring yet again this festive season, the Directorate General of Civil Aviation has asked airlines to augment flight capacities by deploying additional flights to meet high demand. Following this, the Aviation Ministry says Indigo has informed the regulator that it will deploy approximately 730 additional flights across 42 sectors. Air India and AI Express will have an additional 486 flights across 20 sectors. SpiceJet to deploy approximately 546 additional flights across 38 sectors. Moving further, India and the European Union will hold the 14th round of Free Trade Agreement or FTA negotiations from Monday in Brussels. India's expanding economic strength and its Make in India initiative are drawing greater interest from European companies which view the country as a key partner for growth, jobs and investment. According to a new Federation of European Business in India survey, already over 6,000 European companies operate in India, creating over 3 million jobs. These firms not only create jobs, invest, manufacture and innovate in India, but in short, they make in India. The European Union remains India's largest trading partner, with goods trade reaching Euro 120 billion, ahead of both the United States and China. President Ursula von der Leyen and Prime Minister Narendra Modi have already set an objective to conclude the deal by the end of 2025. Now, Japan's Nikkei 225 surged past 47,000 for the first time on Monday after Sane Takaichi was elected leader of the ruling party, set to become the next prime minister. Known for her pro-stimulus stance, Takaichi's win sparked a market rally with stocks jumping and bond yields falling. The yen weakened over 1% against major currencies as investors bet on continued loose monetary policy under her leadership. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum expressed confidence that her government will reach a favorable agreement with the United States and other nations regarding trade and would also present developments in a plan to boost local tech. Latin America's #2 economy has been largely spared the brunt of Trump administration tariffs thanks to a free trade agreement with the US and Canada that is up for review next year. In a ceremony celebrating her first year in office in Mexico City, Sheinbaum said her government would in the coming weeks present advances in Made in Mexico projects as part of a plan aligned with a changing trade environment. Iran has gained parliamentary approval for a monetary overhaul to remove 4 zeros from its national currency over the next few years to simplify transactions after years of inflation. Years of inflation above 35% have caused Iran's currency to plunge to The situation made it difficult for people to make sense of bills or financial statements. The approval was reported by state media on Sunday after Parliament had resolved objections from the Guardian Council to pass a bill that had been in the works for several years. The move will make the rial easier to use in transactions and calculations. The move remains contentious, however. All right, sports updates now. We'll start with cricket. India beat Pakistan in the ICC Women's World Cup in Colombo on Sunday to maintain perfect record at 12-0 despite a glitchy performance in all 3 departments. Batting first on a slow pitch, India found momentum hard to come by as several batters struggled to convert starts into meaningful contributions. Openers Patika Rawal and Smriti Mandhana provided a steady start while Harleen Deol played a patient 46. Jemima Rodrigues and Richard Kosh's cameo at the end gave India a total of 247, chasing 248. Pakistan's innings quickly fell apart. A top order collapse left them reeling at 26 for 3. Sidra Amin stood out with a valiant 106 ball 81, but the rest of the lineup failed to capitalize. India's Kranti, along with Deepti Sharma, shared 6 wickets between them to bundle out Pakistan for 159. All right, we'll go across to Colombo. DD India's Dr. Ahmed Farooqi joins us for more. Dr. Farooqi, the result extended India's dominance, making it 12 wins in 12 ODIs against Pakistan, and it also took India to the top of the points table in the competition. Shared dominance shown yesterday too by India.
Yes, absolutely. You see, although it was expected that India would show a dominant game yesterday, but the conditions were a little tough to begin with. If we talk about our Premadasa Stadium itself, the track is something which is a little slow, and the batting was a little tough to begin with. Later on, we noticed that under the overcast conditions, it became even difficult. Somehow, Indian lower order managed to again pull it close to 250, scoring 247 runs. That was a par score there, and it gives India sufficient numbers on the board to defend it. And all thanks to the Indian bowlers, especially Kranti Gore and Renuka Singh, both began well. They contained the top order very well. And of course, later on, the rest of the Indian bowling, the spinners, they contributed together, Deepti, Sneh Rana and Sri Charani. So ultimately, it was a fantastic effort altogether by the entire Indian side, restricting Pakistan to 159 runs. A massive victory once again for India, continuing the dominance between the two sides.
Right, Dr. Farooqi, massive victory by India. But you think India were a little sloppy in the field and need to improve in that department, because Pakistan didn't capitalize, but other teams will in the future games against Australia and big teams like England?
Yes, there were a few instances where there were certain dropped chances. Even certain areas of the wicket keeping probably needed some improvement, primarily because we noticed that there were at least 2 easy chances which Richard could not capitalize on. And of course, the coach will definitely look into the matter and how they could improve going forward, given that the next 3 games are going to be against established sides which have done well in the past. But given that India will be playing at home, there would be definitely some home advantage, and India will continue, hopefully continue the strong run that they have.
All right, Dr. Farooqi. Yes, we'll leave it at that. Thank you for your inputs. The 12th edition of the World Para Athletics Championships concluded at New Delhi's Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium on Sunday. For 9 days, the capital witnessed record-breaking performances, emotional victories and a true celebration of human spirit. India, the proud host, showcased not just world-class organization but also its growing sporting might. From accessibility to infrastructure, every detail reflected India's readiness to host major global events. This was India's biggest ever contingent, and it delivered the nation's best performance in history. Indian para-athletes made the nation proud, finishing 10th overall with a record 22 medals, including 6 gold, 9 silver and 7 bronze medals. And former Director General of Sports of Haryana, Jagdeep Singh, believes that India's best ever performance in Para-Athletics Championship was truly remarkable, one that will strongly support India's bid to host more such events in the future. He spoke exclusively to DD India's Narayan Singh about India's rise in sports, especially in para sports, and also praised Prime Minister Modi for uplifting India and providing direction to athletes. Take a listen.
Right now I am joined by the former Director General of Sports of Haryana, Jagdeep Singh ji. Sir, a very warm welcome.
Thank you so much.
India has hosted the biggest ever para-athletics event. So how you look this achievement, the way event was hosted in a big way?
12th edition of World Para Championship is a great milestone for in the history of India and also for the sports persons. It also I think considered to be a great morale booster for the para sports persons or it will also enhance the atmosphere in the common man, common sports persons, and regard for para sports persons who are competing and facing difficulties and coming forward and doing such a great marvel.
Taking a look at this edition, as you mentioned, 73 number of athletes are participating, biggest ever contingent, and also the representation from Haryana was the biggest. So how you look this, the Haryana is continuously winning medals for the India at the international podium, and the representation is also too big.
Haryana sports policy is also a big booster for para sports persons, for cash awards, for jobs, and etc. But I here also want to mention here, nowadays most of the states and also central government, sports ministry have also supported in a great move for cash awards, jobs throughout India.
Our Prime Minister Modi interacting with the athletes whenever they are winning medals, even they are losing, Prime Minister is there to support them. So how you look this perception from the top leadership to put Indian sports at the different level?
The sports person feel motivated when he or she come from international event, whether it is World Championship, Asian Championship, or Paralympic or Olympic Games. When that Prime Minister himself welcome the all athletes, whether it is para or general athletes, they feel elated and motivated.
Definitely the way things are happening in India, the kind of support our athletes are getting from the top leadership, from the country, from the Sports Authority of India, definitely it's the start of a new era in the Indian sports, and hosting such mega events definitely will help India to bid for the mega events like Olympics too. With camera person Naveen, Narayan Singh, DD India, Delhi.
Soccer now. Sevilla thrashed Barcelona 4-1 on Sunday, ending the champions' unbeaten start in La Liga and denying it an opportunity to return to the top of the table. Sevilla's first league win over Barcelona since 2015 provisionally lifted it to fourth in the table with 13 points from 8 matches. Barcelona remains second with 19 points, 2 below leader Real Madrid. Sevilla, which has won 2 games in a row, will continue its league campaign after the international break against Mallorca on October 18th, the same day Barcelona hosts Girona. And Nigeria's Lagos made history by hosting Africa's first ever all-electric power boat race. Team Brazil took the win at the exciting E1 Lagos Grand Prix. Despite heavy rain, the UIM E1 World Championship held its concluding race on Lagos Lagoon, marking the series' debut in Africa. Pilots Timmy Hansen and Marit Stromoy led Team Brazil to victory, showcasing the growing global reach of electric power boat racing. And the sky was filled with a vibrant display of hot air balloons in New Mexico during the 53rd annual Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta on Sunday. The event's signature Mars Ascension featured hundreds of balloons lifting off into the morning sky. The festival is a 9-day celebration held every year during the first week of October. And that's all we have in this edition of DD India NewsHour. But do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile application. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Abhishek Mahajan from All First Air in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India NewsHour.